Today, we're exploring the Witcher's basic mutation, as well as every single special mutation Geralt has access to in Blood and Wine. Before we begin, gotta warn everyone there will be some minor spoilers for the Blood and Wine DLC, especially the side quest required for you to gain these mutations. But with that settled, let's kick things off with the basic mutation. In case you're not familiar, one of the reasons Witchers are the most suitable people for fighting monsters is not just because they know the monsters, their oils, their potion, their alchemy recipe, or people who can forge a good silver sword. They have bodies honed and mutated to engage in monster combat. That edge exists to make sure they live to take the next contract. All the effort and promise of coin does no Witcher any good if they die in the process, after all. So, let's go over these mutations. Witchers have enhanced strength, which allows them to survive pitting their swords against monsters that would tear through normal human. That doesn't make them superhumanly strong, mind you. After all, a Drowner would still beat through their parries with raw strength if it really puts the effort in it. Geralt in the books, specifically in Chapter 3 of Blood of Elves, also tells Ciri when training her in Kaer Morhen that raw strength isn't important for a Witcher, but speed is. The point, as always, is to be enough to survive in the moment. Following up, we've also got enhanced reflexes, which would probably make them excellent goalkeeper. Either way, it ties into the point I just made about the enhanced strength. Reflexes let a Witcher keep up in a nasty situation, which is important for every fight. If your reactions can't match or beat Abruxa, you might as well drop the sword and open your neck. Save her the effort. Still, reflexes don't usually mean anything without the ability to see what to react to though, and that's where we get feline eyes, which allow them to see in darker, murkier places without needing to light a torch and give themselves away. The eyes can only do so much by themselves, which is why the cat potion exists, but it's still pretty useful. It's not just the eyes that get a buff in sensitivity though. Check this out. Increased sensitivity allows Witchers to pick up sounds and sights that normal men wouldn't see or hear immediately. That's a hugely important ability, because if you can't detect a monster early or quickly, it can get the jump on you unprepared, and being unprepared can cook any Witcher. Seeing and hearing can only do so much by themselves though. That's why we have Toxic Potion Tolerant, which allows Witchers to drink potions that enhance their innate ability, and if necessary, poison monsters likely to take a bite out of them, like vampires. Of course, that's only part of the package. Signs are a form of magic, which allow Witchers to use limited, but quick bursts of magic to gain or force an advantage over their quarry. There are 6 signs: Igni, Ard, Erden, Quen, Axii, and Heliotrope, but we might go over those in another video. There are 13 mutations available for Geralt and the player to use. One of them is the base mutation that allows you to activate any of the rest, so it's more of a passive mutation, but you can only have one active mutation enabled at a time. Choose carefully and choose what best suits the situation, your playstyle, or whatever you think is fun. Let's start with the first one. Nothing crazy right off the bat, but it is an important mutation regardless. Strengthened synapses. This mutation is the foundation of everything Geralt gets to do as he gains more ability points and mutagen. This mutation does just what it says on the tin. Geralt's neuron and muscle junctions become enhanced, increasing his reflexes, response time, and allowing him to endure mutating different abilities into himself. The game explains this as a unique mutation that allows the player to unlock additional slots to unlock more of Geralt's ability. It's nothing special, but it's important because it connects everything together and allows Geralt to pick up some wild mutations down the line. This mutation lets you unlock up to 4 ability slots, but in order to reveal all of them, you have to unlock all of your mutation. 2 mutations for the first slot, 4 mutations for the second, 8 for the third, and finally, all 12 mutations for the last slot. Keep in mind that these ability slots will change the ability you can activate with them, depending on the mutation you have unlocked and its color coding. If you have a green mutation, you can only place alchemy ability. If you have blue, then it's signs, and if you have red, it's combat. Also, the ability slots aren't linked with any mutagens like the base ability slot, so they won't give you any mutagen bonuses. No vitality boosts, no sign intensity boosts, no attack power boosts. That's alright though, trust me. The abilities you gain from your mutations make that trade-off totally worth it. It's like dropping your Big Mac on the ground by total accident, only for someone to come up and offer you 2 boxes of the world's best pizza. You guys wouldn't happen to like pineapple on your pizza, right? Before we talk about the next mutation, if you're enjoying the video so far, please subscribe. Anyway, let's talk about the next mutation. This one just sounds absolutely painful. Toxic Blood. Black blood sounds like a nasty piece of work, both for a Witcher and the Witcher's enemy. Anytime Geralt's blood comes into contact with a vampire or necrophage, it actually hurts them too, because it's acidic and toxic. It has to sound excruciating to even think about having something like that inside your body. How Ciri managed to withstand having black blood of all things in her to fight that flutter before she got mutated is honestly amazing to me. Whatever the case, Toxic Blood is like that. But instead of a potion, it's a whole mutation you activate by drinking any potion, not just black blood. Toxic Blood allows you to spread joy like Oprah Winfrey, and all you need is a bit of toxicity. For every time you get injured in melee combat, the opponent gets some 1.5% damage dealt back for every point of Geralt's toxicity level, ramping all the way up to 150%. If you've still not mastered Geralt's dodges or counterattack, or your opponent's attack just got unavoidable because of bad luck, bad positioning, or you just plain didn't see it coming, then Toxic Blood is a good deal for you. Toxic Blood, just like all other mutations from here on, is unlocked with a combination of greater mutagens and ability points. In this case, you need 2 ability points and 2 greater green mutagens. For anyone that's a bit more skilled with combat, but struggles with pesky enemies and monsters that you can't counterattack, we've got a good mutation coming up for you. Deadly Counter. Are you finding difficulty with enemies immune to counterattack? Sick of having to roll out of the way of attacks you feel you could parry instead? Tired of playing Keep Away with Gregoire de Gorgon? Well, say no more, Witcher. Have a look at this mutation, Deadly Counter. Deadly Counter is essentially a reflex booster. Not like Kerenzikov in Cyberpunk 2077, but still a reflex booster. With it, Geralt can find and act on openings on human opponents and monsters that would be otherwise tricky to fight. In more gamey terms, Geralt's sword deals 25% more damage to monsters or humans that are immune to counterattack. On top of that, for the ones that aren't immune to counterattacks, for any attacker that has less than 25% of their health or vitality left, a counterattack is a straight kill, right then and there. Deadly Counter only asks for 2 ability points and 2 greater red mutagens. Simple and straightforward. Perfect for a combat build. The less time spent on those pesky opponents, the better the fight. Then again, if you prefer to use signs to solve those otherwise unsolvable problems, don't worry, you're covered too with this next mutation, Magic Sensibility. Finally, something Griffin enjoyers would have been begging for came true. Introducing Magic Sensibility. It's a simple mutation, nothing grossly overpowered like some of the mutations we'll be covering soon, but it is still wonderfully effective. Through Magic Sensibilities, signs can deal critical damage. That's right, signs finally pack that critical extra punch they've needed all along. The critical chance and damage increase based on your sign intensity, starting from 40% chance to deal an additional 198% damage. Just for that cool final touch though, if you kill your opponent with a sign, they freaking explode. Absolutely gross, spectacularly gory, and unfailingly fun. I hope I don't sound like a murderous maniac, folks. This needs no prerequisite mutations to unlock, but you do need to have 2 ability points and 2 greater blue mutagens handy to use it. Magic Sensibilities is a pretty cool mutation, right? But wait, there's going to be another treat for sign enjoyers. How would you like to harness the power of the White Frost? Piercing Cold. I'm kidding. You don't actually get to harness the power of the White Frost. Not like Calanthir. Not without some ridiculous mod like the Eternal Hunt anyway. Still though, you can freeze your opponents with this mutation, Piercing Cold. Overpowered, highly effective, and piercing as the Antarctic cold, this mutation adds a 25% chance of freezing your opponents when you cast Ard. For anyone that gets frozen and knocked over by this ability, that's an insta-kill. Those who aren't frozen anyway still get a ton of damage. This mutation is insane, probably more than a little broken, and even Detloff is definitely not too fond of it. Look at the damage it does to him. Piercing Cold is available right after Magic Sensibilities is unlocked, plus you'll need 3 ability points and 3 greater blue mutagens for it. Makes sense since it enhances one sign. Piercing Cold is a really powerful sign, but some might argue that something a little more grounded would work better. How about we explore something that'll come in handy and have your opponent's minds in a whirl and you feeling delightfully heady? You could say it'll make you feel an adrenaline rush. This mutation is perfect for a fight where you're getting jumped by multiple opponents. Turn their numerical advantage against them with Adrenaline Rush, which gives you an increase in attack power and sign intensity for the first 30 seconds by 30% for each enemy you face after the first one. If you're facing 11 opponents, for example, your Adrenaline Rush bonus goes up to 300%, allowing you to take out bandits and neckers alike expediently. But you better make sure that your fighting is efficient, because once your time is up and the bonus wears off, the adrenaline come down starts kicking in. Your sword's attack, power, and sign intensity both start dropping by 10% for each remaining opponent after the first, though of course this modifier doesn't exceed 70%. Otherwise you'd be in real trouble. This mutation demands efficiency, mastery of your combat against multiple opponents, and a calm head to go through the period of advantage and disadvantage. Adrenaline Rush asks you to unlock Piercing Cold and Bloodbath before you have the right to use it, plus you need 5 ability points, 3 greater blue mutagens, and 2 greater red mutagens. Now, Adrenaline Rush is powerful, but it does demand mastery, and so does this next one, Bloodbath. Bloodbath is literally just that. a bloodbath. There aren't many circumstances where a Witcher is deadlier than when he has access to a mutation like this. Every fatal blow you deal with your sword either activates a finisher or dismembers the enemy, and each blow you deal increases your attack power by 5% until you either reach your maximum of 250% or you're through with everyone before you can even reach your maximum capability. Be careful though, if someone gets a lucky hit in, the bonus goes away. Stay on your toes, kill all your foes efficiently, and you'll earn the right to put the laughter in your slaughter. Deadly Counter is the only mutation you need to unlock first, but you also need to pay a tribute of 3 ability points and 3 greater red mutagen. This is a combat mutation. Bloodbath is a really useful mutation, but did anyone ever wonder what it would be like to finally make a fairly useless weapon actually kind of viable as a playstyle? If your answer's yes, then check this one out. Cat Eye, the crossbow. Introduced in The Witcher 3 and an apparently useful tool for feline and ursine witchers, you can't be blamed for wondering why those witchers even use them. They're good at knocking flying monsters out of the sky and killing drowners and sirens when you're underwater, but beyond that, they're so underwhelming that it'd be an actual blessing if they were even whelming at all. Never mind anywhere close to overwhelming. Somebody in CDPR heard us say it, and they definitely did not take it lying down. In response to the rolling eyes and derision, they gave us this mutation, Cat Eye. This mutation shoots up crossbow damage almost 10 times over. Depending on the crossbow you're using, damage can go from 107 to a stunning 992. Stunning by crossbow standards, of course, and its critical hit chance goes up by not 10 or 20, not even 30, but a full 50%. To make things even better, opponents that used to basically ignore being hit by a crossbow will now get knocked down or stunned, buying you valuable time or a good kill opportunity. Is that all? Nope. If you use the crossbow when your opponent is at full health, one hit takes out 15% of their health, just like that. Combine all this with crossbow abilities in the combat section, and you could actually have a viable crossbow build to kill monsters with. To get to this one, you need to have unlocked Bloodbath and Euphoria. Euphoria we'll be talking about shortly. You also get to use alchemy and combat abilities with this, as you need 5 ability points, 3 greater green mutagens, and 2 greater red mutagen. Cat Eyes is a total game changer, though you might probably debate otherwise. But there are more powerful mutations out there. Let's talk about what many agree is easily the most ridiculous mutations in the whole game, Euphoria. The alchemy build has a legendary reputation among Witcher 3 players. It's famous for how utterly broken it is, way more so before the next gen patch. With potions, bombs, and oils, Geralt becomes an absolute force of nature. Nothing can stand before him for long, and monsters and humans alike get completely obliterated within seconds. At the base of this broken build lies Euphoria, an angry mutation that works in tandem with Geralt's toxicity. For every point of toxicity, every potion and decoction drank, every bite from a Kikimor, Geralt's raw sword damage and sign intensity shoots up by 0.75%, going up to a maximum of 75%. That doesn't sound like much, but if you increase Geralt's tolerance for potion toxicity and pair it with the right oils, potions, and bombs, you'll kill everything in a few hits. The damage output when combining an alchemy build and Euphoria is nothing short of ridiculous. Mind you, the version you see in the next-gen version of The Witcher 3, 4.0 and beyond, is the nerfed version of Euphoria. Back in the day, it was a genuine game breaker. Outside of bosses, Geralt could kill everyone and everything in a few swings of the sword, and with Whirl, you could cut down enemies like its Dynasty warriors. With 4.0, he only has to swing a few more times. Euphoria's requirements are surprisingly low for how powerful it is too. You need to have unlocked Toxic Blood, and on top of that, 3 ability points and 3 greater green mutagens too. As you might be able to tell at this point, this one works best with alchemy users, though people can also apply it with other builds, and it'll still be way up there with the damage out. Euphoria hates the way that you walk, the way that you talk. It hates the way that you dress. It's nothing short of fury in a bottle. Why else would it be so overpowered? But if you're looking to be less of a kamikaze attack jet and more of a tank, we got you covered. Mutated Skin. Adrenaline is a useful hormone. It allows us to be alert in high stress situations, to tap into levels of strength and vigor we normally wouldn't have, and, most useful of all, blunt the impact of pain. Such is the function of Mutated Skin, a mutation that allows our favorite Witcher to decrease up to 45% of the damage he receives, as long as he has adrenaline points somewhere in his back pocket. It's a useful little mutation, and goes nicely with the Ursine build, allowing you to tank otherwise ridiculous hit and give back generously. As for what you'll need for it, you have to have acquired Euphoria already, and on top of that, you'll need 5 ability points, 3 greater green mutagen, and 2 greater red mutagen. Not a bad price, and a decent trade for anyone looking to slot in some extra alchemy or combat ability. Now, it's time to talk about an insane and pretty nifty little mutation. We call it Metamorphosis. A lot of people would argue that Metamorphosis isn't as integral to the alchemy build as the likes of Toxic Blood, or especially Euphoria, but it is a real solid mutation and can save your bacon at time. When Metamorphosis is active, the moment you apply a critical effect on your opponent, the mutation will activate the effects of a random decoction for 2 minutes, for free. No toxicity, no drawback, nothing. Even better, if you plan it right, Metamorphosis can activate more than one decoction effect on you, up to 3. To make it even more useful, Metamorphosis allows you to see in the dark when you trigger your Witcher senses. It does put the cat potion out of a job for some anyway, but it's still a nifty way of avoiding toxicity buildup when it's not necessary. You're gonna need cat eyes to make this mutation available for activation, plus 7 ability point, 3 greater green mutagens, 2 greater red mutagens, and 2 greater blue mutagen. Pretty handy, because that allows you to use your ability from all 3 branches. So it's great for anyone rocking a hybrid build, or just wanting to use Metamorphosis alongside whichever build you have. Not bad, right? You're gonna love the next one though. In the right moment, you become blatantly invincible for a short time when you use it. Second Life. Dying sucks. It really does. It sucks a lot less in video games, but it can still be a major inconvenience, especially when you're playing an RPG. And it just so happens you forgot to save a few minutes of progress that autosave didn't catch for some reason. Thankfully, Second Life circumvents that. When you die, Geralt blazes right back to life like a white-haired phoenix, regenerating every ounce of his health. To make things even better, once he comes back to life, he becomes invulnerable to any form of damage, but just for a short time. That helps you regain your bearings and decide what you're going to do next. Run, fight on, or cry because you're in the middle of facing Detloff and there's no escape? Up to you. Maybe you could do as he says and start praying if you acknowledge any god. Be careful though, you can't pull this one off whenever you want. Second Life will only kick in once every 3 minutes. If you die before then, I'm afraid you're out of luck. It's only once per 3 minutes. Survive until then, or retreat, or load a save where you're not fighting whatever's beyond your ability at the moment. As for what you'll need to unlock Second Life, you do need to unlock Adrenaline Rush first. On top of that, you need 7 ability points, 2 greater blue mutagens, 3 greater red mutagens, and 2 greater green mutagens. See where this is going? You can slot in abilities from all 3 branches. Cool, right? It's a useful ability and can really save your bacon when you're in a bad situation. Now, let's talk about the last mutation, and a real useful one. Conductors of Magic. Get ready to twist your finger, or just put on a magician's hat, because it's time to talk about Conductors of Magic. This one's a nifty little mutation that boosts your sign damage by a significant amount. When you've got your sword drawn and you're facing some magic, both of these things will boost your sign damage by 50% of the damage dealt by the swords and magic. It's a great way to give your signs a lot more kick in combat. Plus, if you stack this with sign intensity, your signs will be blowing everyone away. To unlock this mutation, you'll need to have unlocked Piercing Cold. Plus, you'll need 5 ability points, 3 greater blue mutagen, and 2 greater red mutagen. Conductors of Magic will let you slot both combat and sign abilities, so this is a great mutation for anyone rocking a sword sign hybrid build. If you enjoyed this video and want to see every single monster, type in The Witcher Explained. Click the video on screen now.